It's impossible to say what long-term effects the recent earthquake in Japan will have on the world and how quickly the nation will recover from this terrible disaster. Here we look at 10 natural disasters that have had an overwhelming impact on people's lives, the landscape around us, and in some cases even changed the course of history. If you still didn't subscribe my channel, now subscribe and press the bell icon button to get latest notifications. Number 1. Indian Ocean Earthquake and Tsunami 2004. The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami was one of the deadliest tsunamis in history, killing around 230,000 people in 14 countries. Indonesia was the worst affected, accounting for around 170,000 deaths. The economic impact of the disaster was also devastating, with countries affected suffering huge losses in the tourism and fishing industries. The disaster, however, forced the United Nations to finally introduce a tsunami warning system for the Indian Ocean, something which had existed in the Pacific Ocean since the late 1940s. Number 2. Vesuvius AD 79. When Vesuvius erupted in AD 79, it obliterated two Roman cities, Pompeii and Herculaneum, killing most of the inhabitants and permanently altering the landscape around them. The cities were never rebuilt and lay forgotten under layers of ash and pumice until they were accidentally discovered more than 1500 years later. The excavation of the two cities, well preserved due to the lack of air and moisture they were exposed to under the ash, has since provided the modern world with incredible insight into what life was like during the Roman Empire. Number 3. Tangshan Earthquake 1976. The Tangshan earthquake in 1976 was one of the deadliest earthquakes in China's history, causing around 242,000 people to lose their lives. The political repercussions of the disaster, however, went far beyond the death toll and damage. The earthquake is seen as a key contributor to the end of the Cultural Revolution in China, one of the most violent eras in Chinese history, and the arrest of the Gage of Four who were blamed for implementing the regime's harsh policies. Number 4. Krakatoa 1883. Krakatoa's most famous eruption in 1883 and the tsunamis that followed sunk two-thirds of the island, taking with hundreds of villages and tens of thousands of lives. To this day, it is one of the most violent volcanic events ever recorded. The massive amount of material deposited by the eruption dramatically altered the ocean floor surrounding Krakatoa and significantly increases the land mass of its neighboring islands, now called Sertung and Rakata. A more recent eruption has since created another island called Anak Krakatoa. Number 5. Bola Cyclone 1970. The Bola cyclone that struck the Bengal coast in 1970 was the deadliest tropical cyclone ever recorded, wiping out entire villages and killing as many as 500,000 people. The government at the time was criticized for failing to handle relief efforts, and protests led to its defeat in the national elections a month later. The ensuing unrest eventually triggered a civil war in 1971, a conflict that later widened into the Indo-Pakistan War and resulted in the creation of a newly independent Bangladesh. Number 6. Kobe Earthquake 1995. The Kobe earthquake in 1995, or Great Hanshin earthquake as it is also known, killed more than 6,000 people and caused billions of pounds in damage. Despite the repairs and rebuilding, Kobe never fully recovered as Japan's main shipping port. The earthquake also forced the government to improve its disaster response policies and earthquake-proof bridges and buildings to prevent them falling like dominoes should be the worst to happen again. And when these new measures were put to the test last week, they appeared to largely work as most major buildings managed to withstand the earthquake. The devastation this time was caused by the tsunami which followed. Number 7. Great Blizzard of 1888. The Great Blizzard of 1888 is one of the worst blizzards ever recorded in the United States. Around 40 to 50 inches of snow fell in parts of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, completely paralyzing the East Coast. All rail and road transport ground to a halt and took days to clear. It is believed that the storm is one of the main reasons the Americans created the first underground subway system in Boston, which opened 9 years later. Similarly, following the storm, New York began placing telegraph and telephone infrastructure underground to protect them in the event of future storms. Number 8. Great Kanto Quake 1923. The Great Kanto Quake, which struck Japan in 1923, killed hundreds of thousands of people and the West even considered moving the capital somewhere else. Panic and confusion after the earthquake meanwhile caused the media to false rumors and reports about the extent of the damage. One of the rumors claimed that Koreans were taking advantage of the disaster by committing arson and robbery and poisoning the wells. As a result, up to 6,600 Koreans were murdered by mobs, as well as hundreds of Chinese people who were mistaken for Koreans. The importance of obtaining accurate information in order to avoid being misled by rumors has been highlighted in Japan ever since, with earthquake preparation literature almost always advising people to carry a portable radio. Number 9. The storms that sank the Spanish Armada 1588. When the Spanish attempted to invade England in 1588, after first being defeated by the English, their fleet of ships then ran into a succession of storms off the coast of Scotland and Ireland. The Spanish lost around half of their ships and nearly 5,000 men as a result, many of whom were killed when they were forced ashore in Ireland. And although the ships were already fleeing the English, when the bad weather hit, the storms are renowned for ensuring the invasion failed and the ships didn't come back. Number 10. Shaanxi Earthquake 1556. The Shaanxi earthquake that hit China in 1556, the deadliest earthquake on record, wiped out almost entire countries and killed around 830,000 people. An 840-kilometer wide area was destroyed, as were the caves and the Luas cliff, which erode easily, in which the majority of the population lived, and in some cities every single building and home was demolished. Records described how the landscape was completely changed, with new mountains and valleys appearing and river changing course. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this, let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you can catch up my next video. Thank you.